All right, so I got a new topic on hand here, but it's from last year. It took time to develop, but the thought is pretty sound, even though it is new to me anyway. The thought behind it is what is normal healthy? Is it right? When people talk about doing things, they talk about what is right, what is wrong, or how to best do something. What's the best way to go build this? What's the best way to go do that? Or, in the case of driving, what's the shortest route from here to there? But in the case of life on an every day-to-day basis, the question in some cases become what is right, what is wrong, and how does things normally fit into here? Let me explain by that. Let me back up and give you an example and then an explanation. In the case of teenagers, some who I've talked to, by the way, they ask about, if things are normal, if they're weird, bodily functions, their sexuality, who they are, what they like to do, what they like. And there's been a lot of discussion as far as whether or not these things are normal and healthy in some cases. So the idea behind this topic here is to poke a little bit more into this to hopefully shed some more light. This isn't an easy topic at all, and honestly, there's a lot of ways you can look at this. Starting off with a biblical and a non-biblical, and then a non-biblical approach to this. On the biblical side, God created people to be a certain way. He created, it talks about in the Genesis 1 about him creating the earth and then everything on it, and then man. Specifically man first and then women. He sets out their roles, he sets out their functions, and gives them a directive on what to do. From my time looking into this and thinking about what this means, because with the LGBT community, as well as some other people who struggle to identify who they are, and as well as where they fit into things, the idea becomes whether or not they are, if they are right, if they are wrong to be a certain way. It's something that's taken a lot of time, because the idea of people being right or wrong with who they are is not one that is talked about very often. It's kind of rare. It's very hard to address because you're trying to apply morality to a human body, which is not normally done. It's not to my knowledge anyway. I'm sure some YouTubers and some other people have talked about it. I know there's been plenty of discussions talked about masturbation, whether or not it's evil or bad or healthy or wrong. Honestly, that is a function that I think is normal, that is abused. Normally abused. It also turns into an addiction right there. But I wouldn't call normal functions evil or wrong. It's something that's built into the human body. I personally believe that human sexuality is built into every single person, and our experiences either highlight them or we choose to reject them and push them away due to personal trauma. That is kind of a different topic though, but to try to help frame the picture after using these as an examples about younger people asking questions about themselves. If people are struggling with their sexuality and they want to know if certain things are right or wrong, there's not a clean answer. Everyone's going to see this a little bit differently. So as of this is my interpretation, my answer to it. What what is natural, what is normal, is not wrong, but it can be twisted, it can be abused, and it can be stretched way beyond what it was naturally intended for. This is the reason why I had changed my stance on same-sex marriage and relationships. I see a very specific what's the word here? I see a very specific difference between same-sex relationship as well as homosexuality. Excuse me, I dropped something. I believe homosexuality is defined, and this is how this applies to this right here, is the fact that I am trying to define one type of relationship and something else that is way beyond what is normal. I believe this is not normal for the simple fact of reproduction. Men and women make babies. People of the same sex do not. And that's on a very simple scale as far as what is normal, what is not. Now, I believe a same-sex relationship is something that can become normal because of your experiences that tell you otherwise, that have shown you otherwise. While a homosexual relationship is more of a lifestyle than it is a relationship. What I mean by that is, it is a lifestyle, I believe it is a lifestyle outside of a relationship where it is multiple partners outside of a committed, protected relationship where there is no intimacy. If you want to compare a healthy relationship to that of a same-sex relationship, there are a lot of similarities there. There are two partners. Usually both are very loving toward each other. They communicate. There's trust. There is a lot of things that are built up between the two, including family and children. But as far as the definition of homosexuality goes, I believe it is multiple partners outside of a protected relationship where there is no intimacy, there is very little trust, there is very little building up. It's just focusing on desires, sensuality, and it is indulging them beyond what is healthy. There is more, but that is delving into the whole biblical side as far as why it is specifically wrong. There's a whole bunch of verses that kind of talk about that too, but they don't differ between a same-sex relationship and homosexuality. And therefore, I believe people are confused about both being the same. I believe that there are differences there that are very important to point out. And one in the same-sex relationship being a relationship, while homosexuality is not. And honestly, this is a very confusing topic. I am getting off a hand here, but it does delve into, is natural right or is it wrong? Because that's the whole theme of this, this short clip here that I'm trying to go into. It's taking me some time to get to this point because it is very confusing. This is not easy by any means. But as I've been musing over the whole entire past year, plus more, there's been a few things that have come to light that have just taken some time. People change, they grow, they adapt, and as it is, your definition and understanding of what is natural changes as well. There are standards, and those standards, when you apply a situation, you apply people in relationships to the same standard, and you see that they consistently stay the same. Well, that is stable, and stable is probably what is normal, and normal is probably what is healthy. Now, if you want to apply certain other things, like, for example, the medical field, like getting cancer, needing a C-section because you're having issues with your pregnancy. Those are not normal. Not by any means. But, the cancer is normal. Removing it is not normal. Babies are normal. Giving birth the natural way versus C-sections, which is not normal. These are methods. The methods themselves do teach a little bit about this when you look more into answering this difficult question. Honestly, since these are methods and not actual things, items, people's relationships, they're a little bit simpler to answer because of the nature of what they are. Unnatural processes and services, or whatever else you want to label it as. These are not natural, but they are extremely helpful and healthy because they are removing things a certain way that normally cannot be removed, or safely. They cannot be safely removed. There's been complications all over. And this ties into my next point here. Because of what you've gone through, there may be complications and abuse. There may be a change of what you call normal that other people do not. Your scale may differ wildly from others. So therefore, your values, what you focus on when you determine what is right, what is wrong, may change, even if it's just a little bit or if it's just a lot. So, when it comes down to it, well, the best answer is basically that. This is a very difficult subject. I hope I've been able to help you out and shed some light on certain things here. This very important question plus all the other ones that I've talked about over the time. All right, I'll catch you next time.